Eating at night makes you fat, like you're some kind of flipping gremlin. You always see this, oh, if you eat past 10, if you eat a carb past 10 o'clock, you're going to shrivel up and die. Like, oh, I ate the carb, I ate a rice cake. The best thing, not really the best thing, but the funniest thing that has happened ever since I started focusing a little bit on fitness on this channel. Don't worry, gaming stuff is coming too, as well as the other nonsense. Everything's get something like, Miller, where's all your other stuff? I promise you, I got loads in the works right now. I got time on my hands. Not literally. But it's some of the comments and some of the suggestions I get for other people's YouTube videos, and you get some incredible pieces of advice. I already mentioned the one dude that said to snort creatine to get it in your bloodstream faster. Do not do that. I'm going to double down. Please never snort. In fact, never snort anything. Never snort anything unless it's medicinal and your doctor is next to you going, hey, why don't you snort this? Actually, if he says like that, he sounds unprofessional. You know what I'm talking about. But there's so much of it, and originally I was going to out some people. I had a few comments. I was like, I don't need to do that. That's just mean. I don't want to be a mean guy, but I certainly am going to bring up their tips and I'm going to throw them into the ground because yes, indeed, this is 10 bro science tips you have got to ignore. Number 10 is body weight exercises are just for pumps. I had this the other day when I talked about my love for press-ups and doing pull-ups, and somebody was like, you shouldn't be doing that, it's a waste of time. You just on and on and on. And obviously, if you've watched all the, if you've seen plenty of videos, you will see there are some people that go to the gym that thinks the only reason you ever do a body weight exercise is because you want to get your pump on before you go partying or before you go and do whatever. That's absolutely nonsense, especially at the moment when you can't go to a gym properly if yours hasn't opened again. I know some people's have. I mean, pull-ups especially are probably the best latimus dorsi exercise you can do. I know people are going to contest that, as you should. Keep an open mind. But for me, I think if you work on your lat pull-up game, so your pull-up game, and you really, really dedicate yourself to it, and you progressive overload, so you're doing one extra a week, and you're doing partial reps, and you're doing drop downs or whatever, or you're attaching a weight belt around yourself, your back is going to get width. There's no two ways about it. I would say that press-ups or push-ups aren't as good, but think about what a push-up is. It's just, it's bench press, but you're just doing it with your own body weight. And you can have a backpack and you can put weights in there to increase that. It's absolute madness that you shouldn't be doing them. You 100% should, even if you just use them as a finisher. So let's say you do a push routine and the last thing you do is just a bunch of press-ups. You're going to finish off your chest. You'll probably hit your deltoids a little bit, your front ones anyway. You'll hit your triceps. That's a good exercise. That is 3 different body parts. Don't listen to that. Number 9 is everyone bigger than you is on drugs. Flippin' Nora, have I got washed up in this recently. Oh, this guy does drugs. That guy does drugs. Everybody does drugs. Maybe they do. Maybe they're all on drugs, but not everybody bigger than you is on drugs. And I think the reason it's important to talk about this, I mean, it's bro science as well. I could be that big if I did a bunch of drugs, but I don't want to. And the reason, like, you need to get out of that train of thought is because you just don't put... I'm not saying it's a failure that you're not growing or whatever your goal is, but don't think you're not reaching your own goals and your own targets because you're not taking something else. A, you may be tempted to do it, and I would advise not doing it, just my personal opinion, but again, do whatever you want. It's your life, and I respect that. But also, it's just, again, it's negative energy. The positive game in fitness is everything. You should be focusing on you. You should be focusing on what you can do. And if you're not achieving something, look at your diet. Look at your training plan. Look at your cardio. If you're trying to lose fat, maybe you need to do more cardio. Maybe you need to cut out some calories. If you're trying to put on size, but you're not, maybe you need to change up your plan. Maybe you need to do some exercises. Maybe you need to up the weight. There's so many other things to do and then try and drag everybody else down just because it makes you feel better. Don't do that. Raise people up like that. Is it a Westlife song? You raise me up. You raise me up. No, they covered it, but the original is by someone. Why are we talking about Westlife? 8 is my favorite. Lift slow, be slow. It's a quote from my comments the other day. I was talking about time under tension and how the best way to do any kind of lift, bicep curl is easiest, is nice and slow up, probably for around about a second, and on that downward bit, 2 seconds, and make sure you give it a good squeeze. Someone said, Simon, if you lift like that, you'll be slow. Like, what are you talking about? What do you think lifting like that does? Sends messages to your brains going, reduce his maximum speed by 3 miles per hour. No, time under tension is how you get... I don't even know what that means. Lift slow, be slow. I mean, I can understand if you thought you get bulkier, you may be a bit slower, but that's not what they were saying. That's absolute bullcrap. If you want to do really... Oh, gosh. If you want to do really quick lifts here and there, okay, that's up to you. It's good to change things up. But ultimately, your foundation, the things that you rest everything on, should be time under tension, a nice slow lift where you're focusing on form. Form is more important than flipping weight, which brings us to number 7 is if the bar ain't bending, you're just pretending. You're just pretending. I mean, that's a great quote. That's a great phrase. It rolls off the tongue. You're never going to forget it. Absolute bollocks. Absolute bollocks. You do not have to. The stupidest thing I've ever seen in the gym, it's a long time ago now, is when I walked in there and some guy was doing bench press and I looked at it and I was like, flipping Nora. There must have been 300 kilograms on the bar, 250 around it. He's using all the 20s in the gym. And of course, he went to do it. He had someone spotting him going, bruh, bruh, and shouting in his face. And he went to do it and he probably moved about 1 inch and then he racked it. And they were like, yeah, yeah. And I was like, what a waste of life. And did the bar bend? Yes, it did. Did I get impressed by this? I was, because I thought even if he had done one all the way down and up, I would have been awesome. But it was literally like, meh. I was like, that is absolutely ridiculous. The bar does not have to bend. Ever. I mean, it's cool if it does and you can lift that much. Obviously, if that's, you want to be a strength athlete, absolutely you should be aiming for that. But there's still other things you can do. You're not a failure if you're doing deadlifts and the bar isn't bending. I mean, what a stupid thing to come up with. Number 6, classic one, the more protein, the better. Flipping Nora. The amount of comments I get about that, oh, that's not enough protein. That's not enough protein. Look, there's an equation, right, which at the top of my head I think is you should be eating 1.5 to 2 pounds of body weight and grams of protein. Something like that. So if you're 200 pounds, you want to be eating around about 200 pounds times 2 would be 400. 400 grams of protein. I think that's way too much straight away. I don't think you need that much, but it's a good idea to start there. But some people think you just need to be having like 500 grams of protein plus. No, you don't. Someone said this in the comments the other day as well. You could eat as much protein as you want and it won't store as fat. Are you kidding me, you flipping moron? If you're eating 10,000 calorie worth of chicken breasts a day and you're just sitting on your ass, do you think you're not going to put on weight? Of course you are. What do you think protein is? Magic dust, and it just sprinkles around going, oh, well, I can't use this for muscle, so I'll just shit out my, I just crap myself out of my ass. No, it's food, it's calories, it's energy. You do need more protein if you want to put on size, because protein is basically your building block for all of this. But you absolutely do not need to be overeating it. In fact, I would implore, if you're just starting out, start low and increase. That's so much better than piling it all on, then realize, great, I screwed it up. Always start small, moderate increases. That's just easier. Number 5, 2 hours in the gym minimum. Oh, if only that was true. If only it was a case of time. And the longer you spend, I spend all day in the gym. I go 24 hours a day. And I'd be Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'd be the happiest man ever. And I'd win bodybuilding competitions, and people would go, oh, he's so big. No one would do that. That's not a real thing. You've seen those memes. It's true. Everyone starts lifting weights thinking like the opposite sex is going to be really like, oh, man. But it's not. It's always blokes. It's always blokes just looking at other blokes going, oh, guys, he's really jacked, which is fine. But no, you don't need to spend 2 hours in the gym. If you're just doing shoulders, because some people train that way, 45 minutes to an hour tops. You should be able to get what you need to do done in that time. And if you're not, your rest sets are probably too long, and you're probably dawdling, and you're probably not focused, and you're probably not working out intense enough. 2 hours in there. Look, some workouts could take 2 hours in the gym. Of course, it depends on what you're doing, but that is not an essential rule. No way. Number 4, you can turn your fat into muscle. No. Watch this. Oh, look, I didn't turn into an alien because an alien is different to a human, right? That's just not how it works. You can't turn, lead into diamond? You can't turn an apple into a light. You can't turn a guitar into a fish. They're two different things. The reason a lot of people put on bad weight when they stop, because you always get that. You get big dudes and they stop training and they get fat and go, oh, it's the muscle, it's turned into fat. No, it's not. It's because they're probably still eating a bunch of calories, but they're not working out. So their muscles are going down because they're not time and attention. They don't have the, that intensity, but they're still eating loads, so their body puts on fat. It's so much more obvious than this halakaboo, alakazam, oh, you transferred. If only you could turn muscle into fat, or vice versa, you could turn fat into muscle. It would make it so much easier, but no, you need to chop away the fat, and then you have to put on muscle. They're two different things. And number 3, ties into that again, eating at night makes you fat, like you're some kind of flipping gremlin.
Well, it's not 12 o'clock yet. All right. Keep an eye on him, kids. I'll be back in a second.
You always see this. Oh, if you eat past 10, if you eat a carb past 10 o'clock, you're going to shrivel up and die. Like, oh, I ate the carb, I ate a rice cake. It's what you eat. It's not, and how much you eat. Like your body doesn't get, it's not like there's a switch in your brain again that you get past 9 o'clock and go, oh, we're now in extra fat storing mode. Like, it just, I get it because you're about to go sedentary for 8 hours and have some sleep. But you can still eat late should you need to get your calories in, as long as you've burnt the amount of calories off that you need to. Again, surplus versus deficit. I'm done talking about it. It's flipping boring at this stage. But you can eat late at night. It's not some, if you're hungry and you still have 100, 200, 300, 400, whatever it is calories to get in, eat them. Just don't eat a pizza, for goodness sake. Number 2, I've never heard this one. Crunches, sit-ups, whatever, reduces belly fat. How is that a thing? How is getting on the floor and going, like you're some kind of ladybug, going to make fat disappear? It will tighten up your core, and I guess, you know, by proxy, that will give you better control of that and other exercises that could eventually lead to good cardio and fat loss, I suppose. But no, any kind of movement like that is just to, again, just to help your core and help your abdominal muscles. It does, your fat doesn't know what's going on. It doesn't feel this crunch and be like, oh, I'm being crunched away. It's not even a sentence. No one has ever said, oh, I'm being crunched away, unless you're a crisp or a chip for my American friends. If you're a crisp or a chip, crunched away. Yes. Everything else, no, you should do crunches and you should do sit-ups because they're a good exercise again for your abdominal muscles and your obliques and all of that kind of stuff and your core, but it is not going to make fat just run away. Number 1 is lifting heavy makes you bulky. This still happens. It happened to me the other day. A friend of mine said, they went, Miller, I want to get in shape, but I don't want to lift too heavy because I don't want to look like insert bodybuilder here. That pisses me off. I'm like, do you know how much I would love that to be the case? And also I'm like, do you think that I don't want to be bigger? Do you think I'm just like half-arsing this? No. Lifting, you should be lifting as heavy as you can. Of course you should be lifting heavy as you can. And then just see how your body reacts to that. If you are very lucky and you have superior genetics and you start to get really, really big and you don't want to, then sure, start lifting less. But it won't happen. Because the whole point is you just want to break the muscle down. That's what you want to do. And a great way to do that is by lifting as heavy as you can, but also making you doing like, 10 to 12 to 15 reps with good form. That's the dream. But most of the time you're going to have to start later because doing anything with good form is damn hard. I would love that if that was it. If it was all about go to the gym for a long ass time and lift heavy, heavy weights and you'll get big, I would be the happiest man in the world. At the moment, I'm like number 7. I think like Happy Larry is number 1 and then Smiling Steve is number 2. And I'll continue to make my way to number 1. But I am not there as of yet simply because that is not true. And that's that. 10 things that have actually been thrown into my face over the last few months, and I just felt like ranting and raving about them on a Tuesday, so I did. Like the video, share the video, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell button so you can stay up to date. Thank you so much for all the support. I got a Patreon, patreon.com/Simon316. I will stop talking about that when I start getting awesome views, just being transparent and honest as possible, but genuinely, so many people have jumped on board that you helped me so much. Allow me to make this kind of content. I'll see you soon.